to the top, got a filled up engine.
Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live for this Sunday doubleheader here on LFS. First, it's a London derby at the Gtech Community Stadium as Brentford take on Tottenham, who are in treacherous form at this moment in time. Thomas Frank's side don't have a great run at home in their last couple of games, but their home form has actually been one of the top in the Premier League this season. Also at 2 o'clock, Manchester United looking to continue what has been a little uptick in form under Ruben Amorim in the last couple of weeks. They take on a Crystal Palace side who are also looking up the table. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff as well. And later, the finale of this doubleheader on Sunday as the two title challengers of the last couple of seasons face off at the Emirates. It's Arsenal currently trying to chase down Liverpool, who are leading at the way, and a Manchester City side who want to get themselves solidified in the top four and get a bit of room between those and the teams below them. And the weekend ends, of course, tomorrow night with Chelsea taking on West Ham. That's still to come. Those are the games you've already seen at the top of your screen there. We'll tell about those later on this afternoon. But we have to quickly, briskly, move on to our game this afternoon, because at 2 o'clock it is a big one for these two sides, Brentford and Spurs. Brentford, at this moment in time, find themselves outside the top half of the table. They could sneak their way in with a win over Spurs this afternoon. A Spurs side in 16th in the table. They want to go back above Everton, who went above them yesterday when Everton won 4-0 at home against Leicester. Let's have a look at the teams then, and we start with the home side. A new goalkeeper for Brentford, Valdemarsson, starts in goal. A back four of Ayer, Collins, Vandenberg and Lewis Potter. A midfield of Christian Norgard, the captain, and Vitaly Janelt. Mikkel Damsgaard in the 10. On the right hand side is Brian Mbomo. On the left hand side is Kevin Schade, and Johan Vissa leads the line for the Bees. On the bench for Brentford, Stone, Pinnock, Mee, Coyote, Carvalho, Magoma, Yarmolyuk, Cognac and Jensen. For Spurs, more injury problems for Ange Postecoglou. Antonin Kinski continues in goal. A back four, a new partnership, as Pedro Porro and Jed Spence are the full-backs. Archie Gray and Ben Davies are the centre-backs. In midfield is Yves Bissouma, Rodrigo Bentancur and Dejan Kulishevsky in the midfield three. With a front three of Mikey Moore, the 17-year-old. He's on the right-hand side. Heung-min Son, the captain, on the left-hand side. And striker Richarlison leads the line through the middle. On the bench for Spurs, Austin, Region Hardy, Casanova, Oluseyi Sarr, Bergvall, Scarlett and Ajayi. A decimated Spurs, both in form and with their players on injury. But Brentford know there's no better chance to take a win against Tottenham when they're 1 win in 11 Spurs. We'll see what can happen in this London derby under the sunshine in West London as Brentford take on Tottenham. A very good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live with me, Kevin Ferris, this afternoon. A cracking afternoon ahead of us. Two huge games in the Premier League this Sunday afternoon for you to get your teeth into and really enjoy this Sunday afternoon. It's going to be a great day. A London derby here at the Gtech, and then that huge game between Arsenal and Manchester City a bit later on. Brentford in their home strip of red and white shirts and black shorts, and Spurs in their away strip of that kind of light blue, faded light blue with the darker blue trimmings on the shirts. Brentford that will get us underway then in this London derby. Two sides who are in positions where, well, Brentford, they're mid-table, maybe that's where they expect to be, but Tottenham certainly do not expect to be in the position they're in. 16th in the Premier League table is an all-time low for Spurs in their history, especially at this stage of the season. It is really looking bad for Ange Postecoglou and his Tottenham side, but again, is it the injuries, or really is it just the naivety of the football they play? Well, this is a big test for them this afternoon. Brentford away has been a tough task for many's a team, not only this season but in previous seasons. Brentford away is one of those where Brentford always give a good game against anybody they play here. And that's kind of referenced in the fact that the last 4 Premier League games at home, albeit 3 of those defeats, the only point they picked up in the last 4 was at home to Manchester City. But those other games, they all kept close with their opponents. And those other 3 opponents, by the way, were the other top 4 teams. Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal and Nottingham Forest are the last 4 that Brentford have played here. So not an easy roster of home games for them. And Burmo, nice play down the right hand side to Ayer on the overlap, who wins the throw in there. And Christopher Ayer, and on that right hand side for Brentford, making his return to the starting 11 this afternoon. Brentford have had a fair share of their injury problems. And one thing you have to say about Brentford, and I think we watched them last week when they went to Crystal Palace, and the last 2 wins Brentford have been on the road, which has been a massive struggle for them this season, winning away from home for this side. But what we saw last season was that fight in a Brentford side where we've seen a lot of it under Thomas Frank, when maybe things aren't going their way, maybe the game isn't in their favour. The ball into the box here, Spurs struggling to deal with it. Damsgaard, second chance, well charged down in there. I think Pedro Porro got in the mix as Moore tries to carry it away, but lovely from Damsgaard, wins it back. This left side, blocked off by Porro again. And we'll try and get Spurs out of trouble. The ball was kept in there by Mikey Moore. The home crowd weren't particularly convinced. It's good pressure there from Brentford, a bit of head tennis in and around the Spurs box, and they almost caused them problems there with Damsgaard making a late run. And that will be something for Spurs, is just trying to get through the game. Early doors, just not throw it away. And not allow Brentford to really command the early stages. Ben Davies looking for the switch ball. Well dealt with there at the back by Lewis Potter, and Shada trying to break away. Coming across was Bentancur, puts it out for the Brentford throw. And these two have certainly kept it competitive, especially at this stadium. The only 2 Premier League meetings between these two at this ground both ended in 2-2 draws. I remember commentating on both of them, and they were very good games on those occasions. And that ball over the top there by Ayer was well beyond Mbermo, and easily recovered by Anton Kinski in the Spurs goal. They're on the way at Old Trafford as well, between Manchester United and Crystal Palace. Manchester United have also announced 2 new signings in that one. With Heaven is one of them, and Dorgu is the other that they've both signed there. So 2 young players and prospects kind of revealed at Old Trafford this afternoon. I'm going to keep you up to date with the scoreline in that one. Up in Manchester. Spurs have a throw in here on this left side with Spence. Taken in by Son, and Son brings it all the way back to Davies. Now Kinski trying to go around the other way. Our Spurs. Space here for Archie Gray. Plays it into midfield for Bentancur. Lots of space here in the middle. Brentford trying to get back. Ball in behind by Porro. Nicely dealt with there. That was really nicely defended. I think it was Keane Lewis Potter there that defended that really well. Got in the way of it as Mikey Moore tries to battle back and gives away a free kick. But nice idea from Spurs. There was a lot of space in the central areas there for Spurs in that midfield to try and exploit. Brentford just dropped into a 5 when Spurs got on the ball there. But interestingly, they initially set up as a 4. Here's Spence, nice breakaway, driving in field. Finding Kulishevsky. Kulishevsky trying to shoot. And all the way across the 6-yard box the ball goes. Whether it was a shot or a cross, neither of them worked. See it again, it was a nice run by Jed Spence through the middle. Came off the left-hand side, went through the middle, carried a few runners with him. Kind of dragged the Brentford players away from the on-running Kulishevsky, allowed him to open the space to try and find the ball into the box. and whether he was trying to shoot or to cross, the ball came fizzing across the 6-yard box, and Richarlison tried to throw himself at it, and just ahead of the Brazilian, but that was better from Spurs. Good move, and all came from a player just breaking into space, and there's a lot of space in there, kind of coming out of position and maybe causing a bit of panic in the Brentford side, not knowing who to go with and kind of who to mark in that situation, and it's caused a bit of upset. Give Spurs a bit of space in the final third. Here's Son. That comes back from Bissouma to Gray. Spurs trying to get the early possession. Moore. Gray. Back across to Davies. Son there. Well pounced upon in the middle when he got the ball, but comes all the way back to Ben Davies, and Spurs back in possession. Porro. Gray. Porro again. Into Mikey Moore. Ball has to come all the way back now to Archie Gray, who's pounced upon there. That was good pressing by Johan Vissa. Just put a bit of pressure on Archie Gray. Will be a Spurs throw. It came off Vissa last, but it will be a Spurs throw in. But that was good pressure by Johan Vissa. Just trying to sneaky the little press on Archie Gray, make him feel like he's got enough time on the ball, and then close it down. Gray under pressure again here. Vissa in the way, but again the ball comes off the Brentford striker and goes out for another Tottenham throw-in. There'll be no doubt that Brentford will try and target this side of the pitch, certainly this side of the centre-back partnership with Archie Gray, albeit Archie Gray's actually held his own pretty well as centre-back since dropping in to an unnatural position to him for such a young player, but you would certainly feel that Brentford will target that side a bit more. Out of the two centre-backs, you would probably feel that Archie Gray will be targeted more. As the ball in behind here. Here's Shada breaking into the box, and a cross blocked by Gray. That's good defending by the Spurs centre-back. It was one long ball over the top by Valdimarsson. And I think, yeah, Kevin Shada was onside, and lovely kind of first touch to take it down and kind of get the ball into space to try and cross it. It was well blocked by Archie Gray for the corner, but one move, one ball over the top, and Brentford were in there. As Damsgaard comes across to take this corner. First of the game. Not a height in there for both teams. Damsgaard to deliver. Right footed in, swinging to the back post, and headed clear by Spurs. Back with Lewis Potter, trying to get it back into the box. Damsgaard trying to make a nuisance of himself. Richarlison's there to help out. Now Kulishevsky on the break. Gets away from the press. Kulishevsky looking ahead of him, trying to play the ball for Mikey Moore, but that was well covered over back there by Brentford. Quickly cleared away. Again, I do expect good attacking football from both of these teams. It's one thing they've got in common. They do know how to score goals. The ball into the box by Porro. Well dealt with back there again, but a bit of a shakiness on the edge of the box. Kulishevsky was eventually taken off the ball as Damsgaard gets himself in a tussle, but he does win the free kick on that occasion. The referee this afternoon is Jared Gillett, the Australian referee. Not that that makes a difference. Jared Gillett is our referee. Our VAR this afternoon is Graham Scott. And keep an eye on, hopefully Graham Scott might have an easy afternoon. Here's Vissa. On the right hand side is Ayer, trying to find the pass in behind. Burmo made the run. Couldn't get the first touch of it though, and Gray did well to clear it away. Come on, Brentford. Starts to be rung around the stadium. 17,000 inside this stadium. Makes a lot of noise for one of the more kind of intimate stadiums in the Premier League. Certainly a lot of noise made. Well, looking at, I said only one win in 11 Premier League games for Spurs, but no wins in the last 7. The only point they picked up in their last 7 Premier League games was at home to Wolves, when they drew 2-2. They've lost all other 6 in the Premier League, Spurs. Kind of discounting Cup and Europa League form, it is woeful. There is no one that has a worse run of form than Spurs in those last 7 games since December the 22nd. Oh, as Kinski gives it away cheaply here. Shada with space, trying to find a way through. Lays it off to Ayer, now and Burmo. Bodies in the box, and Burmo takes on Spence. Gets past his man, chips it across, and the header is over the bar by Johan Vesa. They wanted a corner there, Brentford. They're not going to get one. See it again. It's really good pressure by Brentford. I said how they kind of sneaky the press. They don't go really intense really quickly. They kind of allow you to think, right, we've got a bit of time here, and then they burst on you almost instantly. And it's fabulous kind of pressure. Kinski gets a bit caught out. He plays the ball straight to Shada. Shada gives it wide to Burmo. Burmo takes on his man, gets to the byline, and a scintillating cross. And Johan Vesa couldn't keep his header down, but it was better from Brentford. Good pressing. Spurs looked a bit nervous on that occasion. And just as I was talking about that Spurs record, they've lost their last 4. They haven't lost 5 in a row in the Premier League in 20 years at Tottenham. They've lost to Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton and Leicester all of their last 4 games. And they've also lost to Liverpool and Forest in that run of no wins in 7 in the Premier League. Brentford haven't beaten Spurs at home in 77 years. If we bring that to real category, that's 1948 was the last time Brentford beat Spurs at home. I mean, 1948, that's almost World War times. That far back. It's the last time Brentford beat Spurs at home, because they did win away from home, won 3-1 a few seasons ago. And their sole only win against Tottenham in the Premier League era. Excuse me. Here's Lewis Potter. Down the left side. It comes for Janelt. Spurs just about keep the ball in there with Porro. Again, the home crowd not happy. They felt it was out of play, but the officials said it was kept in. Spence there, well blocked off by Mbeumo, tracking back. The ball comes out for Spurs for the throw on the left side. Taken quickly to Son. Nice Spence. 2 in front of him there, Jed Spence. Does well to avert them. Doesn't avert Christian Norgard afterwards as he knocks one in behind. Trying to find the run of Vissa. Fabulous hold-up play by Johan Vissa. Now Damsgaard. Damsgaard tried to chip it across. Shada in the box. Couldn't take it down the first time. Does the second. Almost brought down in the box. There's Shada, but that was good from Spurs. Although Kulishevsky gives it away cheaply. Norgard tries to win it back and gives it away now. Here's Kulishevsky on the break. Poor ball to Heung-min Son. Bit open now. That little moment there where both sides were just kind of flying forward, trying to find those moves. You wait that first goal. After 15 minutes, Brentford 0, Tottenham 0. Brentford have had more shots, more threat on their shots. 2 to Spurs' 1. Spurs' XG 0.03. Brentford 0.45. But only 35% of the ball so far, Brentford. So Spurs dominating the possession, It just seems like Brentford a bit more threatening when they do have the ball. And a bit more direct with their possession and play. For those forward runs. That's a nice move by Spence, and that's a attempt of a ball in behind, but far too much pace on that one to find Richarlison as it comes back to Valdimarsson, the Brentford keeper. Of course, he is the story today. Valdimarsson, Hakon Rafn Valdimarsson, to give him his full name, from Iceland, 23 years old. Joined Brentford in the January window of last season for £2.5 million from Elfsborg, who Spurs beat in the Europa League in the week, or recently anyway, did Tottenham. It was during the week. I know, I was doubting myself for a second there, thinking, they didn't play them this week, did they? They did, Elfsborg, so bit of a connection there, who knows? Valdimarsson in, of course, this afternoon. There is no Mark Flecken for Brentford, who is their main man. Usually their main man, but not available today. And their sub-goalkeeper this afternoon is an 18-year-old American international, Julian Eystone, on the bench, the 18-year-old for Brentford, so a bit shorter goalkeeper as well as our Spurs, whose goalkeeper was signed in this window, Antonin Kinski. Spurs get the throw in there, and I think Johan Visa got a clip on that Spurs clearance. That's why it's a Spurs throw. The home crowd's really feeling the energy at the moment, albeit Spurs have had more possession, but Brentford are competing, and quite well so far. Spence. Back it comes to Ben Davis. Tries to chip it forward. Again, just a bit heavy on the passing from Spurs as they give it away here. Here's Damsgaard. Lovely fizz ball to Kevin Schade into the box. Schade trying to wiggle his way through. He does get a chance. And the shot blocked by Archie Gray. But Brentford are feeling it at the moment. Spurs just look a bit sloppy in their possession at times. And when they give it away, Brentford are looking to pounce, looking to attack with real kind of intensity and with real directness in the game. And it's Kevin Schade gets a lovely ball, by the way, in the box from Damsgaard. And then he tries to wiggle his way through two Spurs players. He eventually does get the bounce of the ball that takes it through the Spurs men. And he has the shot, but it's straight at Archie Gray, who blocks it. But again, there's that energy about the little bit extra from Brentford in and around the box where they're looking a real problem for their Spurs defence. That's a lovely ball over the top. Damsgaard got a bit caught on his first touch there, which allowed the Spurs defence to retrieve. Although Bissouma beaten off the ball by Norgard. Brentford winning those battles at the moment. That's a cheap giveaway there from Mbumo. Kulishevsky holds off Mbumo to brick away down the right here. Plays it in the midfield again. The Spurs just try and retrieve a bit of control. Brentford have kind of made it a bit more chaotic, a bit more open. It certainly suits the home side. Here's Heung-min Son overlapping with Spence. Spence in the box. Ball across. Bobbling ball. Moore cuts it back. Kulishevsky well charged down. And Schade gets it clear to Damsgaard. Now Brentford won a break. Johan Visa gets caught on the ball. Damsgaard there to pick it up. Skips his way through a few. Damsgaard, fabulous play. Finds Mbumo on the right hand side. Up against Spence. Well blocked by Heung-min Son there, that gets back in and denies Brentford a chance at a counter. But that's a fabulous move by Spurs down the left side. 1-2 link up between Son and Spence, and the ball comes into the box. Richarlison flicks it onto Moore. Moore cuts it back to Kulishevsky, who shoots, but the shot well charged down as he takes it onto his left. It's a fabulous block by Keane Lewis Potter, who gets himself in the way, and then Kevin Schade breaks it all apart. and gets Brentford forward, but Spurs looking positive, maybe just taking a slight bit too long to find the end shot of that opportunity. They had a couple of passes in the box that maybe they could have had shooting opportunities from, but in the end it was good blocking by Brentford. Ball on the right hand side here. Damsgaard, Ayer, back in field to Collins, and now Vandenberg. Janelt, out on the left side is Lewis Potter, back to Vitaly Janelt. The game certainly got into its rhythm. It's just that little bit of energy in it at the moment. Lovely first time ball into Shada's path. Now Damsgaard lays it off for Christopher Ayer. Wants to shoot, doesn't get the opportunity. Lays it off to Mbomo, who will cross it in, and the header not cleanly dealt with there. Shada keeps it alive. Janelt whips one in. Vissa was target, but headed away by Ben Davies. Not very far as Mbomo picks it up on the right side. Brentford all over Spurs as Ayer into the box. Away by Davies again. But kept alive by Norgard. They're not letting Spurs off the hook here. Janelt into the box again, and Vissa's header is just wide. It's incredible from Brentford again. Their intensity, their pressure in and around the box. Every time they whip a ball in, they've got their next opportunity. They've got their next moment figured out. As soon as Spurs clear it, they're right on it again to get the ball back in and not allow Spurs any sort of respite, any sort of kind of recovery time to get back into shape, to get back focused. They're just trying to bombard them time after time after time when they get into that box, and at the moment it's causing Spurs a lot of problems because they've given it away again here. Damsgaard, now Mbomo chips it through, trying to find Damsgaard. Well blocked in there by Davies, but Kulishevsky caught on the ball, just about gets it out of trouble. Brentford are pressing so incredibly well here at the moment. It's Lewis Potter under pressure there on Richarlison, but he deals with that very well. The young left back. Janelt just seem to have that little bit better control at the moment to Brentford. When they do get the ball in good areas, they just have that composure to find the right passes, to find the right moves. Almost like they've been really incredibly well drilled, and we know they're a well drilled side, Brentford, by Thomas Frank, and really well coached. But it's just about that kind of intensity, time after time after time. Even when they're whipping the ball in, when they're crossing it into the box, even if it does get cleared, they know exactly. They stay calm, they keep the pressure, they win it back, and they go again. It's that kind of endless nature of rinse and repeat until it works, until we get a good goal-scoring chance. Spence tried to shoot there from distance. Again, blocked quite simply by Brentford, but Spurs have it on the right side here with Mikey Moore. Cuts onto his left, tries to chip it to the back post, and Richarlison was the threat. Well covered over by Vandenberg there, as the referee doesn't call handball against Spence there. Shada wanted him to, and now Porro will hit one. Well, that one sliced over the bar. Goal kick. It was a nice idea by Mikey Moore on the right side, chops onto his left, and then tries to curl a ball to the back post for Richarlison, but it's really well defended. It's actually, who was that? It was Nathan Collins at the back post that dealt with it. Initially I thought it was Sepp Vandenberg, but it was the other centre back, Nathan Collins. It was well defended by Brentford, but nice idea by the youngster for Spurs, who probably, with Spurs having not many positives to talk about, he is certainly one of them. Mikey Moore, the 17-year-old kind of wonder kid for Tottenham. He was born in 2007. I mean, scary that. Born in 2007, plays on the right hand side, of course. Has made 6 Premier League appearances this season. Started just 1 of those 6 games. This is only his second start in the Premier League. He scored in midweek against Elfsborg, and has got an assist in his last couple of games. Got an assist against Hoffenheim in the Europa League, and also in that 3-2 defeat to Everton, he got an assist. So is certainly putting in the numbers at such a young age, at such a high level. Here's Johan Vissa off the left hand side. Trying to work his way into the box. Lovely! Oh, lovely turn by Norgard on the edge. And you just thought if he'd given a little bit more, he could have had the shot there on the turn. But he spun right into the Spurs defence. Again, they're getting comfortable now, Brentford. You see that type of kind of skill move play in and around the edge of the box. You don't often see that unless they're trying something different, trying to catch the opposition out. And they've got a lot of confidence in the game, which you can see from Brentford. When they play it forward, they've got a lot of conviction, a lot of belief in what they do and what their attempt is. Every single time they get the ball forward, they know what they need to do, and they believe in what they need to do, because more often than not, it works for Brentford. And you know, a side that scored 42 Premier League goals this season. In terms of averaging in the Premier League, they're in the top 6 for goals scored this season. Spurs have scored more than them, which is quite ironic considering the fact that Spurs are where they are in the table. They have one of the top scorers in the league. That's a lovely ball in behind here for Mbeumo, and he gets past his man, chops his way back. Mbeumo straight at the goalkeeper, the man who has been in incredible form, Bryan Mbeumo, this season. Has his first real opportunity of the afternoon in a good area for him. He hits it straight at Antonin Kinski. Spurs want to respond here. Ball cut back to the edge of the box. Son trying to line one up. Falls to Bissouma, whose effort is deflected behind there for a Spurs corner off Janelt. Again, the game's opening up. It's no question that both sides are just going a bit more energetic to get into the final third. And I have to say, that ball in behind for Mbeumo a moment or two ago was scintillating. It was sensational. And then he turned Jed Spence inside out, Bryan Mbeumo. But then, in the end, the shot, as he came on the inside, just kind of was straight at the goalkeeper. Not a massive threat in the end. The Spurs have a corner here on this left-hand side. Right-footed delivery by Son. Try to go right direct, and he does! It goes all the way in. And Tottenham take the lead. Direct from a corner. It's not the first time they've done it this season. It might be an own goal. It might have took a touch on the way through. But that's an incredible goal for Spurs. And at times, there's just nothing you can really do when the delivery is that good. Son, beautiful wet ball. And it's right on the top of the goalkeeper. We'll see it again. And whoever that Spurs player in there is, I'm trying to see who it is. It might be Bissouma, who just kind of puts the goalkeeper off. Gets him in a bit of bother. And Janelt, all he can do is fall back into his own net. There's really nothing that Brentford could have done in that situation. It was fabulous from Spurs. And Brentford were just left watching what was going to happen next. Brentford 0, Tottenham 1, and it's gone down as a Janelt own goal. And Spurs take the lead. It's a fabulous delivery by Son. As I said, sometimes really all you can do is watch and admire what you've seen. Because sometimes those types of situations are just indefensible. You just can't defend things like that. When the delivery is that perfect and the box is that crowded, there's very little you can do but hope. Brentford want to respond as Damsgaard wins a corner there on the right side off Bissouma. Maybe the opening goal will just open the game a bit more. 30 minutes gone. Brentford 0, Spurs 1. Brentford with their second corner of the game now. It was a fabulous goal, by the way, for Spurs. Unfortunate for Brentford. They'll not want to watch it again. As Mbeumo will take this corner for Brentford. Left-footed delivery. Nice whip ball. Headed away by Davis. Valdemarson goes long. And the ball comes back to him. Bouncing down. Bentancur clips it away. Brought back into Brentford control by Janelt. So the away fans now the lighter of the two at this moment in time. Vandenberg. Now to Damsgaard. Nice ball in round the corner. Lovely flick. Here it comes out to the right hand side for Mbeumo. Chips it into the box. Well headed away by Bentancur. Back with Ayer now. Mbeumo. Mbeumo trying to find the right pass. Plays it back to Collins. Now Vandenberg. Collins again. Damsgaard down the right side to Mbeumo again. Bodies in the box here for Brentford. Trying to go for the 1-2. Ball falls to Ayer in the box. Took a heavy touch. The ball had already gone behind for a goal kick there of Christopher Ayer. Again, the crowd weren't particularly convinced or pleased with that one. I mean, I look at the goal again, and people will argue, well, maybe is the goalkeeper fouled? Is he kind of impeded from trying to get to the ball? I don't think so. When you're a goalkeeper, you just have to throw people out of the way. You just have to get involved and get right into the mix and throw yourself at it in whichever way you can. And Valdimarsson was a bit kind of passive in trying to clear it away. Here's Damsgaard. Nice chip ball. Well headed away by Gray. Janelt. Brentford certainly responding well to going behind. Trying to find that equaliser. Ayer. Nice touch in the box. Well charged down by Davies. The follow-up is saved well by Kinski. And brought behind for a corner there by Yves Bissouma. But fabulous. Again, nice move down the right-hand side. Damsgaard rolls it in for Ayer. Gets a bit of a lucky touch on the first one. Kind of gets into space. Shot charged down by Davies. It falls back out to Norgard, who takes a touch and strikes it. Good height for the keeper, who parries it away. And then Bissouma carries behind for the corner. Brentford packing a punch in their response. And Mbeumo goes short this time. Damsgaard to deliver. Headed across goal. Headed away by Spurs. Ayer trying to flick it in behind again. Ball bouncing around the box. Spurs not clearing it away again. Here's Collins on the left side. We'll just look to recycle the ball here. Keep Brentford in the final third and not force the issue just yet, as Damsgaard almost got caught on the ball. And he did. And almost got his team into trouble. Although Richarlison picks it up and loses it again to Damsgaard. Although Richarlison in the mix. And there's no foul here. Here's Kulishevsky breaking away. Ball into the box for Moore. Brought down. Not going to get a foul for that, as Brentford come away with the ball. It's got a bit chaotic in the last few minutes, as the referee is now giving a free kick for Brentford. In and around their box. Just say it again. And Mikey Moore, he's kind of just shoved over by Nathan Collins. It's not smart from Nathan Collins, because you give the referee a question to answer and give him a decision to make, but it's just a bit weak, really. And there's just really nothing in it. It's just not a massive contention point. Just over 10 minutes to go with the first half. Spurs leading. Brentford responding well to going behind, but there's still that Spurs threat on the counter, which Brentford will have to be wary of. As I said, this is a Spurs side that know how to score goals. And a free kick there at Mbeumo. As I was saying, this is a Spurs side that knows how to score goals. 47 Premier League goals this season they've scored in their 24 games. That's averaging almost 2 goals a game in terms of their averages this season. The only There's only two sides, I believe, that have scored more, or the same or more, than Spurs this season, and that is Manchester City and the league leaders Liverpool, who have scored 56, Liverpool, this season. There's Keane Lewis Potter on this left side. Trying to get past Porro, cuts it back to Damsgaard, who will deliver again, and the flick on by Shada is always going wide from that position. In the central areas. Well, certainly, since the start of last season, these two are the worst for keeping leads. Brentford have given away 47 points from winning positions, only second to Spurs, who are 41 points dropped from losing positions since the start of last season. Neither of these two teams can hold on to a lead for the death of them, really. And that's what makes these games so close. Moore, lovely touch by Kulishevsky across, no one in the middle. He needed his striker to be there to finish off the move. Really nice run in field again. This time it was Mikey Moore again, driving in field. Plays it on to Kulishevsky on the half turn. As he gets to the byline, cuts it right across the 6-yard box. And his striker in Richarlison was not there. And it was put behind for a Spurs corner by the Brentford defence. But that would have been a perfect move if a striker was in the right position. Corner to Tottenham. Left hand side here. The last one they scored from. Let's see how Brentford deal with this one. Son, into the box it goes again. Flecked up in the near post, but I think Janelt was brought down in there, so they might have to retake it. Or they've just given the foul. We'll see it again. Yeah, it's a tussle between it. Yeah, Bissouma and Janelt, they're just getting up in each other's business. And then it's Janelt that ends up on the floor in his own in his own net. Really, it's that deep. And the referee's just now going to have a chat with both Bissouma and Janelt. Our YouTube family says, OG, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Mindblown says, has Richarlison even kicked the ball in this half? Well, I wouldn't say he's been massively potent. 14 touches he's had. He did have a shot in the box, but nothing of real great concern so far from Richarlison. But a lot of the Spurs players come from the wide areas in this point. So I wouldn't really be too harsh on Richarlison to this stage. Corner for Spurs, left-hand side. There's still a lot of pushing and shoving going on the goalkeeper there. Bissouma and Janelt are still going at each other here. Literally in the goal line. Corner, delivered in. Flicked on and flicked behind at the front post there. I think that was Kulishevsky that got the header. See it again. Yeah, it was Kulishevsky. Again, all that tussling. We see it so often from corners, and more often than not, the tussling in there, it ends up being a defensive free kick that ends up being given from the corner if there is a foul. There was a lot of grappling from both players in the mix there. So far, quite ironically, Spurs haven't had a shot on target yet. They lead, but they haven't had a shot on target because, of course, an own goal doesn't count as a shot on target for the team, which is obvious. But other than that, they haven't had a shot on target, so struggling when they get towards goal. Oh, that's a shot! And that's on target by Yves Bissouma. But it's well saved by Valdemarson. Commentator's curse, as always. When you say something, the exact happens right away. The opposite happens exactly right away. As Mbeumo brought down there by Son. And the Spurs captain's going to get himself a yellow card for that. Yeah, he's just There's not really much arguing Heung-min Son could say there. It was a foul. And he was stopping a promising attack. So it's his first yellow card of the season. There you go. I would love to know how many players that don't have yellow cards this season, that play all the time. You know, I would have definitely said Heung-min Son would have had a card by now, but clearly not. That was his first of the season. As Valdemarsson's ready to take this free kick for Brentford on the halfway line. Chips it long to the left side. Shot of the first flick. Ball bobbling around the Spurs box. Moore to take it down. Trying to get Spurs on the move, but Shada wins it back for Brentford. Lovely couple of touches. And he is fouled there by Richarlison. Kevin Shada. And it will be a Brentford free kick. Richarlison protesting that decision, but see it again. I don't really think he can have too many complaints. Yeah, he can come in quite dangerously there on Kevin Shad. He's actually lucky that it didn't connect with Richarlison, otherwise that would have been a real terrible one on the Brentford left winger. Free kick here for the Bees. Damsgaard and Mbomo over it on this left side. Chance for Brentford to try and fight back after going behind. Damsgaard now walks away, so it will be Mbomo to deliver. Left-footed, whipped into the box, and Kinski committed, cleared it away. Got a hand to it. Spence to Kulishevsky. Has to come all the way back to Archie Gray there. And Spurs just trying to settle in this game. It's been a bit of a chaotic first half at times. That's a nice hold up there by Son. Can't find the right pass as he comes back to Porro. Gray across to Davies. 2 minutes of the first half to go. Spurs lead by that goal to nil. Vitaly Yelent's own goal from the Spurs corner has given Tottenham the lead. Spence, lovely flick on, finds Richarlison, who's bursting away down the left side. Richarlison! Well, it went down, and he's not going to get anything for it. Brentford come away with the ball. Not for very long, though. Spurs back in possession. Spurs having a good spell here towards the end of the half. Son. Back to Spence. It did look like it was a bit of a strange moment there when Richarlison kind of went to ground. I wouldn't have been massively surprised if the referee did point to the spot, but he didn't. And I think Richarlison was more aggrieved than anyone about that. I don't think any of his teammates protested the decision, though. Van Berg. Collins now into Damsgaard. Ayer. To Norgard. Certainly, I would have to argue, despite Spurs leading, I wouldn't say that either side have probably done enough to take the lead in the game. In a sense, they both have had half chances, but it's been a quite even first half overall. And I'd say it would be a bit harsh on Brentford to go behind, to go into the half-time break behind in the game. It would be a bit harsh on them. Keane Lewis-Potter, lovely ball into the box, and the cut back by Mbomo. Well put behind for the Brentford corner. He just tried to absolutely blast that one back across goal, trying to hope for any sort of touch in the middle. That's a fabulous challenge, actually. I've just seen the replay of that Kevin Shada challenge on Richarlison where he thought it was a penalty. It is most certainly not a penalty, and it's a wonderful challenge by a winger playing a defensive role. Fabulous defending. 2 added minutes at the end of the half then. Brentford corner, left-hand side. that the referee's going to have to come over and check if it's on the quadrant. Damsgaard there just adjusted it while the referee was coming over. A little bit sneaky there from Mikael Damsgaard, who will deliver. Right-footed. Flicked on and flicked behind. It will be come off a Spurs head, though. It looked like. And it was Sepp Vandenberg that was closest for Brentford. Didn't get the definitive touch. Another Brentford corner will come then. Left-hand side again. Damsgaard will take again. Right-footed. Bit more of a floated one. Falls to the edge of the box in Burmo. Absolutely thumped Richarlison, who went to ground instantly there in blocking that shot. It was a rapturous shot there by Brandon Burmo. It was a rocketing effort. And Richarlison had no time to react. Got absolutely walloped in the head. And now a long throw will probably end this half. Long throw in on the right side. Flicked on into the box by Spurs and cleared away by Porro. That could have been dangerous. Spurs put themselves under pressure there. Although Richarlison chips it over the top. Son to make a run down the left side. He's got Kulusevski central. Son trying to find a pass. Two in red in front of him. Cuts it back to Bissouma. The Spurs get bodies forward and Brentford get bodies back. Switched out to Porro on the right side and across it comes and cleared away it goes as the halftime whistle also is sounded. My goodness me. A chaotic, crazy, dramatic first half where both sides have kept and held their own in the first half. I think it's been a competitive, very close affair. But it is the visitors who lead at the break through an own goal from a corner. Half time, it's Brentford 0, Tottenham 1.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time in West London between Brentford and Tottenham, and it is the visitors Tottenham who lead by a goal to nil at the break. Vitaly Janelt, the Brentford midfielder, scoring an own goal from a corner. There's really nothing much he could do about it. Came off his right shoulder and headed into his own net from a very condensed 6-yard box from the corner. And Spurs lead through that goal. Spurs hadn't had a shot on target right up until around about the 39th, 40th minute of the game. So a first half where Spurs were struggling to get chances towards goal. They were getting shots off, just weren't able to kind of really threaten Brentford for a lot of that half in terms of in front of goal. But overall, I'd say a very competitive first half between Brentford and Spurs. That's why the scoreline is as tight as it is at this stage of the game. I don't think Spurs have defended that incredibly. I do still think there's a lot of room for manoeuvre and a lot of room for improvement from Tottenham defensively. And I think for Brentford, I think they'll be a bit disappointed going in at half-time, trailing, but also not having scored in that first half, considering they created some good chances in and around the final third and some good goal-scoring opportunities, especially from crosses from both sides, both wide areas. They were really threatening from crosses in that first half, Brentford. And I think they'll be a bit disappointed that they go in at half-time, not only not scored, but trailing in the game, where they probably feel at times they were the better side and the more threatening side, because really Spurs had all the possession, but it was Brentford that were winning the ball back, being more direct, being more effective, and most crucially, being more threatening in the final third. They looked like their front four kind of are on it today at Brentford. In that four of Vissa, Mbomo, Shada and Damsgaard look a real massive threat this afternoon, and they need to be. They need to be a massive threat. Yes, Spurs have this change back four, but you still have to do the business. You still have to find the back of the net. And so far, I think Brentford will be a bit disappointed that they haven't been able to score in that first half. But for Spurs, I mean, it's all going swimmingly for them. And how many times have we said that in the last month or two for Tottenham? Albeit a first half where I thought they were a bit kind of lackluster. I think at times, yes, they had a lot of the ball, and yes, they had, in the end, a couple of good shots and a couple of good opportunities in and around the box, but nothing really kind of overly threatening for Brentford. Without that corner, we'd be sitting here going, well, it's 0-0. Neither side really did enough to score. Spurs looked a really bit kind of blunt edge on in the top part of the field, and Brentford really struggled to take their chances. Whereas at half-time, we're talking about Spurs leading based off an own goal from a corner. Now, no question, the delivery from Heung-min Son was absolutely perfect. Sensational. Corners couldn't go any better than what that corner went for Spurs. It's a great delivery. It's a threatening delivery. It's in the right area. You've got the keeper under pressure. The defending team can't really do much about the goal in the end because they're all stuck trying to stop the goalkeeper from being kind of surrounded and hounded. The goalkeeper doesn't do well enough. The defenders don't get the head of the ball, and the ball goes in for an own goal. I mean, it is exactly what you want to do from a corner. Make it so that the opposition can't defend it. Whether they want to or not, it's just impossible in those moments. It's a fabulous ball, and sometimes the whip of a ball, it can catch out defences. It can almost be like you kind of have to be in the goal to try and get it away because it's that good of a cross. You know what? It's coming at an angle where you're standing there going, if I head this, it's going straight up in the air. They kind of have to get in the goal to get it away, and that's how good of a cross it was by Heung-min Son. It dipped in the right time. Spurs just caused chaos in the box, and Brentford just weren't able to deal with that situation in the end, and they kind of got themselves in a real muddle. I mean, it's just bad defending from one point of view, but then you could also say it's exactly what Spurs want to do from a corner, and it's just, at the moment, just not great from Brentford defensively. But again, as I say, Spurs took their chance, and that's exactly why they lead. But other than that, I bring it back to the point. We could be standing here saying, well, it was really poor from Spurs. That first half was really lacking any sort of threat. Their only shot on target was actually a shot from about 20 yards from Yves Bissouma. They've not really kind of massively threatened Valdimarsson on any real occasion other than the corner set pieces in this game. Richarlison got into good moments a couple of times, not massively. Son wasn't really able to get going at times in that first half in possession. The most threat probably came down the right side with young Mikey Moore cutting inside and putting in crosses. That's probably Spurs' best threat from open play in the first half. But less about Spurs, more about Brentford, because Brentford were fantastic in that first half. And I have to say, that's why I say they're really unlucky to be in the position they're in, because they're trailing and they haven't scored. Two moments where you think, after 20 minutes, you thought, Brentford are either going to be leading at half-time or it's going to be a high-scoring game where it's going to be a draw at the break. At no point did you really feel, oh, well, Spurs will be leading this at half-time, because Brentford were getting in the right areas. They were doing everything right, but put the ball into the back of the net. Every other part of the game was going perfect for Thomas Frank's side, and sometimes that's Premier League football for you. We talk about it. You can do everything right up until the final third, but if you don't take your chances, if you don't find the back of the net when you create those moments, you will be punished. And whether you deserve to be punished or not is irrelevant. It's not kind of key to the point. You will be punished at this level, because if you don't take your chances in a first half where you've probably been the better side, you can't really complain at that point. But again, I think Brentford have been really good in that first half. Spurs, there is more to come from Spurs. I do believe they will get better as the game goes on, and that might be a worry for Brentford. The fact that Spurs already have a lead, and they're probably only going to get better into the second half. We will see, but I think Brentford, there's no doubt about it. They're not dead and buried yet, far from that. It's still very tight, still very close, and there's still a chance for anything to really still happen in this game this afternoon. We will see the second half between Brentford and Spurs coming up very shortly, about 6 minutes away. The clock on the top left corner of your screen there is the countdown to the second half. So, Brentford trailing at the break to Tottenham in that London derby. In Manchester at Old Trafford, it's goalless between Manchester United and Crystal Palace. Both sides cancelling each other out in that first half. Both a very close game as well there between those two teams, but no goals to separate them at the break. Between Oliver Glasner's Palace and Ruben Amorim's United. Yesterday, 6 Premier League games for you. It was absolutely incredible yesterday. What a day yesterday was. Some big results, and almost all of them probably shock results, in a sense. Yesterday, barring the Liverpool win over Bournemouth, you could probably say the way Liverpool won was actually more of a shock than anything. But if we bring it back to the top game on your list there, a 7-0 for Nottingham Forest. They were thrashed 5-0 last week, Nottingham Forest, away to Bournemouth. Bounce back. What way to bounce back than to go, do you know what? We lost 5-0. Let's make it a 12-goal swing the other way. 7-0 winners against Brighton. They were 3-0 up at half-time and went on to make it even more goals. An own goal from Lewis Dunk. Morgan Gibbs-White got a goal. A hat-trick from Chris Wood. A Nico Williams goal and a Jota Silva goal makes it 7-0. Nottingham Forest's biggest home win since the era of Sir Brian Clough at the club back in the 80s. Incredible for Nottingham Forest yesterday. 7-0. Everything they hit went into the back of the nets. Yesterday, a wonderful day for them, beating Brighton. A real tough task for Brighton to take, a tough one to take. Only their 6th defeat of the season for Brighton. The 14th win of the season for Forest, 7-0. Liverpool firmly took a grasp of that victory over Bournemouth and took that grasp over the top spot even further. They're now 9 points clear with a game in hand over Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, will play this afternoon at home to Manchester City. Liverpool's 2 goals. The first goal scored by Mo Salah in the first half, and the second half Mo Salah got his second and his 21st of the season in the Premier League. A sensational number. 21 Premier League goals for Mo Salah in 24 appearances, or 23 appearances, sorry. Incredible for Mo Salah, and Liverpool 9 points clear at the top. Everton, 3 wins in a row now under David Moyes. 4-0 thrashing of Leicester City, who really didn't need that result yesterday after results went against them in and around them yesterday. Around the bottom of the table, Everton were 3-0 up, as they were against Tottenham in the first half a few weeks ago. They were 3-0 up against Leicester. Abdoulaye Doucouré and 2 goals from Beto made it 3 at the half, and Iliman Ndiaye late in the second made it 4. But an absolute thumping of Leicester by Everton. Everton, who scored inside 10 seconds in that one yesterday. Ipswich thought they were going to get a much deserved and much probably needed win over Southampton yesterday. They actually didn't lead at any point in that game. Joe Aribo gave Southampton the lead. Liam Delap equalised for Ipswich, but a late winner from Paul Onuachu made it a first win under Ivan Juric for Southampton, and only their 2nd win of the campaign. A tough one for Ipswich to take in that relegation battle. Fulham also came from behind to win away at Newcastle. Another shock result, really, in the form that Newcastle had been on. Jacob Murphy gave them the lead, but Raul Jimenez and Rodrigo Muniz won the game for Fulham from behind to win 2-1. And one of the shocks of the afternoon, another relegation battler, Wolves took on Aston Villa, who confirmed their place in the top 8 of the Champions League and into the round of 16 of the Champions League in midweek. But that all positivity was to end yesterday evening. Jean-Richner Bellegarde gave Wolves the lead after 12 minutes before Mateus Cunha wrapped it all up in the 97th minute to make it 2, and to make it all done and dusted for Wolves, who moved themselves out of the bottom 3 and with a chance to look up the table rather than down with that big result. So yesterday was full of shocks, full of results. No draws yet this Premier League weekend. At the moment, 3 home wins, 3 away wins, and we're very close in those 2 games underway at the moment. Don't forget though, tonight, after this game at the Gtech, we have Arsenal taking on Manchester City at the Emirates. That's a big game to come a bit later on this afternoon. And then tomorrow night we finish our Premier League weekend off in East London. Or is it West London? It's West London. Apologies. As Chelsea take on East London side West Ham United in a London derby. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at Stamford Bridge. Right. Speaking of big London derbies, it's Brentford Spurs, and the second half, where Spurs lead by a goal to nil, is on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the Gtech is Brentford 0, Spurs 1. The players just returning for the second half. And time enough to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. If you haven't done so already, that'd be greatly appreciated. At the moment, we're on the road to 25,000. We're literally about 20, or even less than 20 subscribers away from 25,000. It'd be great to hit that this afternoon. Wish you could do that, and we appreciate each and every one of you who's watching us this afternoon. Thanks very much for joining us. Also on Twitch as well as YouTube this afternoon, so keeping ourselves open on all platforms and all outlets. As it looks like Spurs are going to make a half-time change here. Looks like Antonin Kinski, Lucas Bergvall is coming on for Spurs at the half. And he's going to be replacing Mikey Moore. So the youngster, who was probably Spurs' best attacking player in the first half, he's coming off, and Lucas Bergvall is going to be coming on. So it looks like Bergvall will take the place of Kulusevski in midfield, and Kulusevski will just slot out onto that right wing in place of Mikey Moore for Tottenham. Brentford kicking from left to right in the second half. Spurs from right to left. Surprisingly, in the second half here at the Gtech, and it is the home side, the away side that will get us underway then. The second 45, as we're underway again then, and it is a birthday for the substitute Lucas Bergvall. I'm just hearing, so happy birthday to Lucas Bergvall, who turns 19 this afternoon. Born on the 2nd of February 2006. I almost said 1990. We haven't said that in a long time for a young player. 2006. Here's Mbeumo. Brentford trying to get off to a quick start of the second half. Mbeumo got himself a bit caught up there with his footing. Vissa. Now Norgard. Now to Ayer. Norgard will just recycle it back into midfield. They are the top scorers at home this season, Brentford. 29 Premier League goals at home this season. Spurs are not too far off that. They've scored 27 at their home ground, but of course they're not at home this afternoon. So in terms of sides that love to find the net at home, Brentford are one of them, and they are the top team in the country for that at the moment. Certainly in the Premier League, that is. 29 scored, but 24 conceded. A combined, listen to this, a combined 53 goals have been scored at the Gtech Community Stadium this season. 53 goals. Incredible. There was 50 goals that have been scored at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this season, if it ever interests you. they're not only the two sides, these two, that have scored the most at home, they're actually the most top two in terms of conceding at home, and two of the top three actually. Wolves have conceded more than Spurs at home, but Brentford have conceded the most at home and scored the most at home, which gives us a good game here. We're expecting a high-scoring one. Just the one goal so far, but a whole second half, but that can change. As Brentford have a free kick here on this left side. It's quite a distance out. Spurs have set their line, defensive line around about 24 yards out, a yard or two ahead of the D. Then Burmo's delivery into the box, flicked away well by Porro. Spun back in by Lewis Potter round the back. Damsgaard couldn't keep it in play. Around the back post there. Goal kick. Spence trying to get Spurs moving. Son couldn't find a pass, and that ball comes back to Vandenberg, who just recycles it back to his goalkeeper, Valdimarsson. Trying to target Schade. Chested down by Kevin Schade. Trying to combine the two there, Damsgaard and Schade, but couldn't keep the ball in play. Threw in down this right-hand side for Spurs. Porro played it through, but again that pass really going all the way through to no one. In the end, they're just cheaply given away. Vandenberg, Collins, Ayer. He's trying to dart one forward, trying to find Mbeumo. First touch is just out of play. A couple of heavy touches there from Brentford when they get the ball into the channels. It's just allowing Spurs to get the recovery for those throw-ins. Kinski goes long. Headed down by Ayer. Flicked on by Norgard. Damsgaard trying to make a nuisance. Flicks it out wide. Here is Bryan Mbeumo. Chops it back across. Couldn't find a teammate. That was good covering by Bentancur. But Brentford showing promise there in their attacking. Oh, that's a good challenge in there by Spence. Wins it back for Tottenham. Son on the move. Richarlison on the floor. The referee's played advantage. Son trying to weave his way inside and out. Son comes on the inside. Heung-min Son not given the chance to shoot. On the turn. And has the ball literally taken off him quite easily. There by Norgard. It looked like Bryan Mbeumo about a moment or two ago when he tried to cross it back for a teammate. I thought initially he was going to try and shoot, but he just didn't have the confidence in it to find the shot, and that's surprising for a player who has been in rapturous form this season. In Bryan Mbeumo, an incredible form, you know, one of the top scorers in the league. 14 Premier League goals this season for Bryan Mbeumo. Scored the a penalty, a retaken penalty at Crystal Palace last weekend, quite controversially. Had also scored away at Southampton as well. His last home goal was in a 3-1 defeat to Arsenal here a few months ago. Here is Schade into the box. Kevin Schade! It's too high. The delivery just too high from Schade to the back post. Again, it was good play again, and Mbeumo drops off, delivers it out wide to Schade, who has bodies at the back, and it's Damsgaard at the back post, and Schade just tries to chip it over the top for Damsgaard, but just too high. It's another cross where they are looking a threat, they are looking at causing an issue. They're just not able to find that final pass that can really kind of get them a good goal-scoring chance. It's a nice touch by Ayer. Oh, lovely feet by Ayer. Bricks away here in midfield. Out to Schade on the left-hand side. Up against Porro. Klishchevsky dropping back in as Schade evades him. Gives it back to Lewis Potter. He will try and switch the ball. Lovely switch ball. Finds Mbeumo. Cuts it back now to the edge. Norgard's delivery. Kinski palmed it away. Not fully cleared. A shot over the bar. Another good chance. Brentford are starting to really turn the screw a little bit, and Spurs looking a bit nervous again. Lovely switch ball by Lewis Potter, and boom, cuts it back to Norgard, who kind of sweeps one into the box, and Kinski throws a right hand at it, doesn't get anywhere near enough clearance on it. It falls right back into the box, just away from Johan Vissa, and Porro's clearance kept the threat for Shada, whose shot was well over the bar, but that was a testing moment. There we are. Another big chance for Brentford. This is where they're a threat. You know, Spurs have had more possession. Spurs have had kind of more control of the game at times. But when Brentford get on the ball, they are a threat. They do cause problems. Their directness, their kind of real kind of conviction in the way they attack is a massive problem. Ball flicked on! Oh, just over the bar by Johan Vissa. They are coming closer and closer and closer, but just not able to find the back of the net again. Great play off the left side. I think it might have been, trying to say it again, it's Keane Lewis Potter again, or is it Damsgaard, sorry. He whips one in, it bobbles its way across the box. See it again, it comes into the box, flicked on by Shada, and then it just comes off the left boot of Johan Vissa. Didn't make any sort of move towards the ball, Vissa, just kind of deflected off his left leg and went flying over the bar. But these chances are coming thick and fast, and Spurs are under pressure again from Brentford. But once more, like the first half, when Brentford were creating chances, they're not able to finish them. Spurs could really easily be 2-3 goals down here with the chances that Brentford are creating. So their finishing's not been there today so far for Brentford. There's still 35 minutes or so to go, where Brentford can try and change that narrative of their finishing being poor. Oh, that's an overhit pass into the midfield, and now Kulishevsky's made the run in behind. The shot hits the side netting from Dejan Kulishevsky there. Yeah, it's an overhit pass into the middle. Couldn't be kept by Norgard. It's a nice ball from Bergvall, played into the path of Kulishevsky. Sorry, Bentancur plays the pass into Kulishevsky, gets it onto his right, and he just strikes it across goal, but kind of hits it, slices it a slight bit, and hits the side netting. Shot up with a flick-on header from the long clearance by Valdimarsson, and good pressure there from Vissa. Wins a throw-in off Archie Gray. 10 minutes of the second half gone, and it's definitely been Brentford that's threatened the most in the second half. 53% of the possession's been in Spurs' final third, 36 in the middle third, and only 11% of the possession has been in Brentford's defensive third so far. So that shows you that Brentford certainly commanding the territory at the moment in this second half. Keeping the ball up the field for the home side is Lewis Potter. Bit of a tussle on off the ball there. Lewis Potter digs one out to the back post, and Kinski was there, watched it all the way, and dealt with it well. Kinski goes long with it, trying to find a teammate in blue, but again, well dealt with by Brentford. Vandenberg there, and Ayer will just drop back to his goalkeeper. Collins into Norgard. Now Ayer, beaten off the ball there by Bissouma. Ayer trying to battle back. Norgard there, the first to react, and on the turn is Damsgaard. And Brentford on the move again. Shada down the left-hand side. Overlapping is Lewis Potter. Shada comes back in field though. Now Ayer to Mbermo. Trying to find a way through. Cuts it back. Ayer's delivery. Cleared away. In there. By Kulishevsky was back there on that occasion. Here's Ayer. Down the right to Mbermo again. He will go for the early cross. That was well blocked by Jed Spence. He might have caught a stray ball there. Bit of a tough block by Spence, but he's rallying his troops in a sense there. Jed Spence. And Brentford will have a throw-in on this right-hand side. Shada is over here, taking the throw-in. Might want to try and go for the long throw here. He will. Shada. Into the box it comes. Flicked on. Flicked away. The angle caught us out there from the camera. Shada. Back to Janelt. Trying to keep the attack going for Brentford. Swung to the left. Ayer left it. Uvisa on this left side. Cuts it back for Damsgaard, who delivers. Damsgaard's ball. Away by Jed Spence, but well won back by Collins. And Janelt now. Damsgaard trying to evade a couple. Ball falls through to Vissa. Gets it across, and the ball put behind by Collins. Goal kick. Yeah, it was actually really good from Damsgaard when you thought he was surrounded by three and you thought he's going to really struggle to evade these challenges, and he played a lovely ball in behind for Johan Vissa, who gets the cross in, and Collins just wrong place, wrong time really, because if he hadn't touched it, it might have been even more threatening, the cross, and his touch just took it out of play. Bergvall to Son. Spurs needed some sort of positivity and attacking sense here in the second half. Barely had a kick in Brentford's final third since the break. Kulishevsky. Back to Gray. Bissouma. Porro. Bentancur. Kulishevsky back to Bentancur. Spurs just continuing to move the ball around. Trying to find those spaces. Gray's ball into the right channel. Porro to keep it alive to Kulishevsky. Here's Dejan Kulishevsky trying to break his way through. Cuts it back to Bergvall, who hits it wide. Not too far away from Lucas Bergvall there. But it's not the most convincing. I mean, I'd say the attacking was sloppy, but the defending was even sloppier from Brentford. They just allowed Kulishevsky to roam into the box and then allowed him to cut the ball back to a free man on the edge. I mean, it's quite basic stuff. And Brentford are lucky that Lucas Bergvall didn't hit it on target, because that could have been 2-0 and that could have been really a body blow for Brentford, considering they've been the better side of the second half. That was nice play to break out of the Spurs press. Lewis Potter down the left side. Gets a bit of luck on the rebound from Bentancur. Played through to Shada, who was brought down there by Rodrigo Bentancur. Free kick for Brentford. On this left side. Yeah, it was nice work from Shada. Allowed Bentancur to take the touch, and then as the separation between man and ball, Shada just stepped in and then shoved over by Bentancur. We'll get Brentford a free kick on the hour mark. Brentford are going to be readying some changes very shortly. And Burmo and Damsgaard over this free kick. Trying to work out their defending their Spurs. The defensive wall, the two-man wall, that's in the way of this Brentford free kick. Well, he was just shaking it there, Damsgaard, as the referee's whistle went. And Jared Gillett, the referee, wants to have a chat with a couple of players. Shada and Richarlison, that he's not happy with, the referee. Too much pushing and shoving, he said. Free kick will be retaken. Might have given away the kind of the idea from Brentford there. That late whistle. And they'll retake it. And Mbeumo and Damsgaard over it again. Damsgaard will leave it this time, and Mbeumo will deliver. Cleared away at the front post, but Damsgaard there to respond and has the shots. Deflected behind for the corner. That was a nice idea. They knew if the first one didn't work, the rebound would work, and Damsgaard had the shot from the edge of the box. Took a wicked deflection. Could have been anywhere, and ended up going behind for a Brentford corner. There will be such release if Brentford find an equaliser here. Damsgaard to take this corner on the left-hand side. Right-footed. Whipped across. Bouncing down. Oh, it's cleared away by... I think that might have been Bissouma back there that cleared that one. Good delivery again. This time just fell right for Spurs, really. As Mbeumo did well there to win the corner. Or the throw-in, sorry, off Jed Spence. Brentford continue to push for that equaliser, continue to push for that goal, but it's just not there at the moment. We have an update from Old Trafford to bring you. We'll wait on this long corner, or that long throw-in, sorry, being taken by Kevin Shada before we tell you about that. But there is a goal at Old Trafford. Shada, all the way back to Lewis Potter. Delivery isn't great, a bit short on that one. Well matched, Son against Janelt there, and Janelt is deemed to have fouled Richarlison. So free kick to Spurs. As I was saying, goal at Old Trafford. Well, is the visitors that have taken the lead. Crystal Palace lead Manchester United by a goal to nil. Jean-Philippe Mateta with the goal has Crystal Palace leading by a goal to nil in that one. Manchester United haven't beaten Crystal Palace since a League Cup win back in September 2023. The last league win was February 2023. Almost 2 years to the day since the last time Crystal Palace were beaten by Manchester United. They've won 2 of the last 3, Palace, home and away, and they drew their reverse fixture this season. Palace leading by a goal to nil away at Manchester United. So the home side struggling early this afternoon. Brentford 1-0 down at home. Manchester United 1-0 down at home to London opposition. Damsgaard got a bit loose. Committed challenge from Gray there. Won the ball. Fabulous challenge. As Bergvall tried to do a bit of a spin to break away there. But won back by Damsgaard. Brentford trying to move again down that left. But have to recycle it with Sepp van den Berg. Into the middle it comes to Ayer. Now down the right is Mbeumo. Rolls it in behind. Ayer to cut it back. Well blocked by Ben Davies. It will be a corner. 25 minutes to go. Spurs still lead. But Brentford again continue to pose a threat. And they're, I think, going to make changes here. So the home side are going to make changes. Vitaly Janelt is going to leave the field. He's going to be replaced by Matthias Jensen in midfield. So straight swap in midfield there. Janelt for Jensen. So just the one change for now for Brentford. Let's see what kind of effect Matthias Jensen can have. And Mbeumo to take this corner on the right hand side. Brandon Mbeumo certainly had a lot of involvement. Left-footed delivery. Whipped in. Headed away by Bergvall. Shot from the edge of the box. Not much pace behind it. Still alive as that ball wide. Wasn't a threat for Spurs defensively. Here comes Kulusevski though. Now finds Son in the middle. Lots of red around him. Gets it off to Richarlison. Spurs on the move in the counter. Well challenged by Matthias Jensen for his first involvement. And now finds Mbeumo, but not much room or space to exploit here. Mbeumo, although he'll win the throw-in off Yves Bissouma. That's smart centre forward play. Knows he's not got to pass on and just kind of tries his very best to win any sort of positive out of it. And he does win the throw in. Spurs are going to make a change, by the way. Pape Sarr is going to be coming on. And it's going to be Yves Bissouma that's going to be coming off. So Bissouma off and Pape Sarr on. So straight swap in the middle again. So both sides making midfield changes. Some tweaks and switches from both sides. Team news is in from the Emirates, where we were heading after this one. Arsenal take on Manchester City. 4:30 kickoff. You won't want to miss that one. Cracking game to look forward to a bit later on this afternoon. Two top sides in the Premier League. Second against fourth. Kickoff at 4:30. Lewis Potter onto Shada. Shada cuts it back now. The shot from distance. Skied over the bar by Matthias Jensen. Well, a win for Spurs would take them back above Everton and West Ham. Before West Ham head to Chelsea tomorrow night, Spurs would jump up to 14th. Wow. It's crazy to think that's an up for Spurs, up to 14th in the table. They'd be level on points with West Ham, so if West Ham were to get anything out of their game tomorrow night, that would be them back above Spurs again. And if Everton were to get anything out of their game in hand against Liverpool in a week and a half's time, that could also be a problem for Spurs. So that's not quite out of the woods yet, even if they do win here. A defeat for Brentford would keep them in 11th and keep that gap between them and the top half at 3 points. I said, if Brentford turn this around and win, they can sneak into the top half with that massive swing against Brighton yesterday with goals. It didn't look likely that Brentford were going to have a chance at that today, but they are, if they can turn it around and win here this afternoon. Here's Mbeumo. Collins. Mbeumo again. Well covered over. Lovely play by Ayer. Finds Mbeumo on the right side. Trying to return the ball. Well blocked by Sarr. Will be another Brentford corner. That'll be Brentford's 8th corner of the game. Compared to Spurs' 2. One of which Spurs scored. I think Johan Vissa was getting a bit of information from the bench there. And waiting for this corner to be taken by Brandon Mbeumo. Mbeumo to take once again. Left-footed. A lot deeper this time. A lot less threatening because Bentancur just let that one roll out of play. And it does go out of play. Goal kick. Yeah, it's too deep, that delivery that time. And at the moment, Spurs, albeit they've come under a lot of fire from corners, 8 corners and 30 crosses from Brentford today, but they've dealt with each and every one of them, Tottenham. And when they haven't, Brentford haven't been able to put them into the back of net. It's a real kind of horrible mix for Brentford today. We used to have had a lot of crosses, but if Spurs haven't dealt with them, Brentford just haven't been able to finish them when the ball comes into the right areas. It's kind of a horrible mix for that Brentford attack. Here's Richarlison in behind here for Spurs. That's good recovery play by Keane Lewis Potter. Very good recovery. And gets Brentford back on the ball. But again, 20 minutes to go. Brentford's focus has to be on trying to find an equaliser at the very least. Spurs have barely attacked in the second half. Well, that's a lovely ball over the top here from Mbeumo. Well, battled with by Jed Spence. Wanted a foul there. Spence came away with the ball cleanly, said the referee. Bentancur in the middle, tracked by Vissa. Lots of bodies in the central areas for Brentford. No foul on Norgard there as he was beaten off the ball. Now Porro. Oro trying to feed one in behind for Kulishevsky, but well watched by Keane Lewis Potter and broke apart as Damsgaard tries to chip one over the top for Mbermo to chase. Again on the run with Spence, who dealt with it and got it back to his goalkeeper. It's good work from Jed Spence again. Seemed to have a little bit more pace than Brandon Mbermo when he was coming back there. Didn't look like it was going full throttle charging back Jed Spence. He just looked like he had it under control. Son chops inside. Ayer trying to tussle with him again. Son really struggling to get out of the way here. Norgard in the mix. And Brentford will win a throw-in. Son has really not been able to shake off Christopher Ayer all day. Ayer's been a real pain for Heung-min Son all afternoon. Every time Son gets on the ball, Ayer's there, waiting to pounce, waiting to win it back. And he's certainly not afraid to commit his body in the challenging. He does commit, Christopher Ayer, and is a kind of dangly human being. It can go very wrong if he times it wrong, but he's done well against Heung-min Son today. And Bentancur there was in a slight bit of pain. He's back to his feet here. No need for any sort of treatment, as Brentford are readying another change. Coyote is coming on here in a moment. Michael Coyote, the Italian, 20-year-old, joined on loan from Fiorentina till the end of the season. LED right back, so maybe a change in the wide areas for Brentford to try and give them a little bit more threat in the final third. Vandenberg there. Collins trying to go over the top. Vissa making the run. Held it up well there, Johan Vissa. And does well to win a corner off Jed Spence. That's really good centre forward play by Johan Vissa. Another Brentford corner to come here. Taken short. Taken quickly. Damsgaard back to Mbermo. He will try and reverse the ball into the box, but away by Richarlison. Brought down by Collins. Now here's Lewis Potter. Into the box it comes. Flicked on by Sepp Vandenberg. Away by Spence. Brought down by Vandenberg again. Norgard spins it wide. Damsgaard cuts it back to Mbermo. Brentford toying around the box, not able to find the right moment. Damsgaard again, charged down by Porro on that side, but Damsgaard keeps the ball. Jensen this time. There's Potter, chipped over the top again. Oh, and the header by Spence is absolutely sliced by Mbermo on the rebound. And it actually went out for a throw-in, never mind a goal kick on that far side. So a substitution here for Brentford then. It's going to be Christopher Ayer, who's coming off, and he's going to be replaced by the new signing Michael Coyote at right back for Brentford. They have a couple of injuries at that position this season, Brentford, with the likes of Hickey and Henry both out. Maybe a slight bit short at right back, and that lone move that sees Michael Coyote get his first appearance this afternoon at right back. There's 15 minutes to maybe try and affect the result as it stands. Here he is, Coyote, bursting into the box, ball across, and almost caused Spurs an incredible threat there. Gets a corner. What a way to get yourself involved in the very first seconds on the field. Coyotes, the cross there, almost caught Spurs out. They get a corner, Brentford. No shortage of corners. As I said, this is their 10th of the game. It's in the double figures now. Can Mbermo get the right delivery on this one? They're footed, up in the air. Again, Kinski was involved. Couldn't get it cleared though. Jensen. He will look to whip one in. Away by I think that was Sarr in there that got the header away. Brentford will eye up another throw in here. Might go long again. Coyote just using the towel on the side to get ready to take this long throw. His cross was a threat. Can his long throw be as much of a threat for the substitutes? As it comes into the box. Flecked on, but headed straight at Antonin Kinski. I think that was Sepp Vandenberg that got the header on that one. Certainly made a slight change in the team for Brentford in these last 2 minutes or so since coming on. Coyote has that little bit of extra energy, some fresh legs to kind of change the idea for Brentford. Although that's a bit tired from Sepp Vandenberg. Foul there on Lucas Bergvall. It's change here for Spurs. So Richarlison's going to leave the field, and it's going to be Dane Scarlett, the midfielder. The 20-year-old Dane Scarlett coming on. Richarlison doing his best acting impression there. Trying to know nothing's going on. He didn't know that he was being subbed. Did anybody really believe that? Of course he knows who's being substituted. And he is now leaving the field. Not a popular figure from the home crowd. He feel he was time wasting. The referee setting up the free kick, so really not involved in that situation, the referee there. So Richarlison off, and the young Dane Scarlett coming on for Spurs. Have had to rely upon youngsters recently, Tottenham, with their absolute marauder of injuries. An endless list. That kind of key quote from Ange Postecoglou in the week. He says whenever he sees the light at the end of the tunnel, it's a train coming the opposite direction. I mean, if there's any way to explain how it feels for Tottenham, there's a vivid kind of visual for you to imagine. Every time it looks like it's getting better, they get hit with another big blow. It's Tottenham. And injury-wise, it's been endless. It's been non-stop for them this season. Injury after injury after injury. One bit of positive news, Mickey van der Ven came back in the week. Not involved today, but Ange Postecoglou said it was managing his minutes rather than anything else. So that's why Mickey van der Ven's not involved. And of course, an incredibly important player for Spurs at centre-back, Mickey van der Ven. A real leader at the back for them. Just over 10 minutes to go, and Brentford still trail by a goal to nil. But it's not without the want of trying. They've certainly given everything to get into the final third and to try and cause Spurs problems. They just haven't been able to finish today. As Coyote goes for another one of those long throws, this time from the left side. Looping into the box. Headed away, and the shot from the rebound is over the bar by Keane Lewis-Potter. This is another example of Brentford getting in the right areas, getting into the right moves, but just not finishing it, not getting the right kind of final touch. Not clinical enough today. Still time for that to change, of course. Still a lot of time to go. 10 minutes of normal time plus the additional time to change for anything to change here. But it just seems like at this moment Brentford could be playing till the end of the season this game and they'd still probably not score. It just seems to be one of those days for them where they're creating chances, they're getting in the right areas. It's just the ball won't find the back of the net for love nor money. It's just one of those days, it seems. But you never know. When Liverpool were here a couple of weeks ago, it looked like it might have been one of those days for Liverpool, but they didn't fight, didn't give up the fight, and they ended up winning 2-0 with 2 goals in added time. So never give up is kind of the message to take from that. Even when you think it isn't your day, fight to the very end, because you never know. Here's Davies. Was it bit of a threatening ball into Bentancur, but he dealt with it well. Kinski goes long, trying to find Son. Well, marshalled by Coyote and flicked on by Mbumo. Can't find a teammate. Spurs play a nice triangle move to get out of that press. Bergval to Spence. Spurs not in a hurry to get forward. They're trying to manage the game now, Tottenham. Great. Nice ball to try and find Kulishevsky, but Brentford there to pick it back up as Valdemarson goes long. And a bouncing ball. Vissa trying to hold it up as Brentford try and make the move down the right here. Lovely switch ball. And Burmo try to squeeze it through, but Spurs just about getting onto the ball in time. And Sarr now on the turn. Getting a bit desperate at times from Brentford there. Trying to force the issue a bit much. Back to Ben Davies. Pressed by Vissa. Gets it away just in time. And now that's a nice move as Spence breaks away and finds it into Son in space down the left. Up against Coyote. Son allowed to burst in. And the cross put behind by Nathan Collins for a corner. First real time we've seen Spurs burst forward in this second half. They've barely got into the final third. In the second 45, as Fabio Carvalho is waiting to come on here for Brentford. But Son not in a hurry to take this corner. And after this corner is taken and delivered, Brentford hoping they've dealt with it by then, we will see Fabio Carvalho's intervention. Corner from Son. Whipped in again. Flicked on their post. Oh. Collins got it away, but that could have went anywhere. Especially after what we saw in the first half as another cross. Oh, just over the head of Dane Scarlett there. From Spurs. Two good chances for Tottenham. Son faded in behind. Kulishevsky's cross fizzed across the 6-yard box. Just too high for Scarlett in the middle. As Norgaard's coming off and Fabio Carvalho's coming on. So, bit of a tweak in midfield and an extra body in attack for Thomas Frank's side to try and find that goal. Try and level the game. Collins try to again force the issue. Try to go for the kind of more Hollywood pass rather than just playing the simple ball. They give it away to Spurs here again. Bergval. Porro under pressure gives it back to Gray, who will go long. Archie Gray and Lewis Potter with a good first touch. Cycles the ball for Brentford. Just over 5 minutes of normal time to go. Brentford 0, Spurs 1. Brentford have desperately tried to find a goal this afternoon, but no luck as of yet. Lewis Potter played it down the left for Shada. Linking up with Lewis Potter again. Up against Porro. Lewis Potter beaten on the ball by his opposite number. And Carvalho there doing just enough to see Porro out for a Brentford throw. Another long one coming as Coyote makes his way over. Coyote to take another one of these long throw-ins. Into the box it comes. Bouncing down again and the overhead kick. Oh, cleared away. And Spence was there again to get the block. And a bit of confusion from Brentford defensively here. Scarlett breaking away. The ball actually worked out well for him as Brentford were defending there. Bergval. Nice Sarr. Lucas Bergval. Spurs will just try and manage the game again. Not hurrying themselves. Being a bit more professional in their play and not risking too much. Ooh, Bergval. Pass on this off balance there. Did get it away to Archie Gray. That could have been a problem. That was nice by Kulishevsky. Finding Bentancur in the middle. Space to break. Son down the left, trying to feed it through for the on-running Sarr, who rolls it past the keeper. Fabulous from Tottenham, who've barely had a kick in the final third in the second half. But when they need it the most, they find that second goal that will put Brentford to the sword. Brentford have been pushing and probing and desperate for that equalising goal the whole of the second half. And it's really just a nice move from Spurs. They didn't rush it. They took their time. They find the spaces. They find the right passes. And it's no one tracking the runner of Pape Sarr. And the keeper commits. And it's rolled under the legs of Valdemarson by Pape Sarr. And Spurs have a 2-goal lead. And they will be taking the 3 points for the first time in 8 Premier League games here in West London. Brentford 0, Tottenham 2. Surely that's it done now. And a rare smile from the Spurs manager. I say rare because it has been in the last few weeks and months where it's been all negative for Spurs. And one away side makes it 2, another does the same at Old Trafford. Crystal Palace have doubled their lead against Manchester United. As probably as we're expecting, Man United were trying to find that equaliser. The same things happened to them, caught on the break, and Palace find a second, and Jean-Philippe Mateta gets a second. 2-0 to Palace, up at Old Trafford as well. That'll certainly settle Spurs much more, and it'll certainly be one step in the right direction for them. A win this afternoon, a much hard-fought, well-ground-out win for Spurs. They will certainly look back to this game. They could look back to this game and say, that's where we turned it around. That's the game that got us back into good form in the Premier League and got us back looking up the table rather than worrying what's behind us. Sometimes it just takes a game like this to just turn it all around, to kind of break that horrible spell that they've been going through of 1 win in 11, no wins in the last 7 Premier League games. That will be, barring any mad drama here at the Gtech, that will be coming to an end this afternoon. Here's Mbermo. Tries to break into the box, brought down on the edge. Will be a free kick to Brentford. It's a crunching challenge by Ben Davies. Yeah, quite clearly that. No yellow card for Ben Davies. So just a free kick here on this right-hand side, edge of the box. I mean, you never know. If Brentford get a goal here, anything can happen, but a 2-goal cushion for Spurs. What belief is there in this Brentford side that they can still claw back? So we hit the 90-minute mark. It's added time or nothing for Brentford now to find some sort of positivity in front of goal. It's Damsgaard and Mbermo over the free kick. Mbermo tries to go direct and hits it over the bar. There we go. That's probably a round up what really Brentford have been all about today. Right areas, just not able to find the goal. And sometimes there's days like that in the Premier League where you just can't find a goal. It's just not your day. And I think today has been that day for Brentford. They've been the better side in the second half. They've practically roamed all over Spurs. But they just weren't able to find that finish. And Spurs have been clinical when they needed to be. That's the difference. Still have a couple of minutes to go anyway, so this might not be the end of the action. It's Coyote just pulling Heung-min Son down there. It is a foul. A free kick for Spurs. They're just trying to manage this to the end now. Sure, a lot of relief will be felt for those Spurs players come the full-time whistle, when they have just dug in and got the result they really need. And I have to be honest, it's not something we've really seen as Spurs this season, and that's been one of their big criticisms, the fact they haven't managed games well enough. They haven't been kind of smart enough in games and experienced enough to go, let's just take a 5-minute spell where we're just defending the situation, not going gung-ho. And I think we've seen that today, where Spurs have stepped off, have allowed Brentford to have a little bit more of the ball in the second half, and said, yeah, come and break us down, try and get your way through us. And Brentford just really haven't been able to this afternoon. And I got to be honest, you got to give Spurs credit for that, because it's been, as I said, their biggest criticism this season, where they continue to attack all of the time, and they not all they think about is attacking, but their first thought is, let's get an attack, let's get another shot, let's try and find another goal, rather than trying to solidify what they have. And I think, being honest, today, that's exactly what Spurs have done. They took the lead, and they thought, right, let's just settle, let's just try and build for it, but not push too much for it. And today, they've done that, and look at the result that comes from it. I'm not saying I told you so to Ange Postecoglou, but it's almost like it was, the kind of answers were right in front of him all along. That if they did just take a step back every now and again, Spurs, maybe they could find a differing result in those games. Of course, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but, you know, it seems to be, it was that simple for Tottenham. And let's not forget, and also at the same time, you got to balance it out by saying the fact that Brentford have had more than enough chances to find the net today, more than enough chances to probably find 2 or 3 goals, and they've just been really dreadful in front of goal this afternoon. Brentford, they could not really finish for anything this afternoon. Their finishing has been really woeful, and Spurs, you could say, maybe a bit of luck. But sometimes you got to work for your luck, and sometimes you earn your luck in games. And I think the way Spurs have approached it, much more sensibly and much more kind of professionally today, has kind of led to the fact that they have got a bit of luck out of the situation. And there is the final whistle. A win that has been rare for Spurs to come by this season, and certainly in the last 2 months. Their first Premier League win of 2025 comes in the first game of February. It has been a torrid last 2.5 months for Spurs since the end of November. Just 1 win in 11, none in their last 7, but that means everything for those players and those fans. Have they finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel, or is another train coming their way? Well, this afternoon they can take stock in the fact that they've got 3 points in the Premier League, and they've gone on and done it in a professional, sensible, and much, much more controlled manner. Final score at the Gtech Community Stadium. It is finished Brentford 0, Tottenham 2. And there we are, that's game 1 of 2 done, and Brentford losing at home for the 4th time in the last 5 games, albeit those other games came against the top 4. Spurs, their first win in 8 Premier League games, an incredible, awful run for Tottenham, but they now have 3 points to take back to North London and get themselves 10 points clear of the bottom 3. Which is quite crazy to say. Elsewhere, they're still playing at Old Trafford, but I think the result is done and dusted there, really. Albeit still about a minute and a half to go, but it looks like Crystal Palace have claimed another victory over Manchester United. It will be their 3rd in the last 4 meetings that Crystal Palace have beaten Manchester United. Incredible for Palace at this moment in time. They're leading by 2-0. Right, one more game to come for you this afternoon as we take you to North London where Arsenal take on Manchester City. Two of the top four, two sides who were fighting for the title this time last season. City not in that title race this season, but Arsenal need to keep themselves in the title race with a win this afternoon. 9 points adrift of league leaders Liverpool, and if they fail to win today, Liverpool will have an even better gap with a game in hand as well. Arsenal take on Manchester City, 4:30. Join us for that. For now, thanks for your company, where Spurs get back to winning ways in a London derby.